hadn't played Starcraft in a while, so here's my first game back, and geez, I think I might have played one game last month, maybe. So I'm a little bit rusty. Oh, there's this thing that happens with the units popping now that makes the noise, and also when they there we go, get on my camera. Also, when you destroy your enemy units, they do this too. I think I might have to go into my settings and change that. But this is, I just got Zerg versus Zerg. My plan is just hatch first, not worry about if I'm getting super early aggro rushed, especially this map is pretty large, so it's unlikely. So you can hold most of the non-super aggressive builds with just a standard 17 hatchery. Then I go 18 gas, 18 pull, lines up the gas to be right. I transition to roaches when I feel like it's safe, and then a little bit later in the game I set up some other transitions too. It's a really normal and standard thing to do versus Zerg versus Zerg. So you don't have any information. Well, I do have the information that I didn't see Zerglings in the middle of the map already. So that means I'm probably not getting super early pool cheese against me, which is good. Because I can't actually beat the earliest pool you can do. Well, I don't know if that's true on this map. This map's very large. Get over here to see if my opponent has their expansion up. Ooh, wow, that's much more annoying with headphones on than when I don't have them on. I wonder if that's a setting I can change in the thing. At any rate, I get over here, I see that my opponent does in fact have a natural base already done and making creep, so that means they went hatch first too. So I'm just going to use my few Zerglings to put on some pressure. I do try to see what they're making over here, but they have not actually committed to what they're making those larvae into yet, because they're waiting to see what I do. So once they see some Zerglings popping out here, I think they decide to do the same thing and make their own Zerglings. I don't actually have this production information during the game about what's going on.
A new queen has emerged.
So I immediately go for another queen at the natural, just so I can spread some creep to connect up to my third. I should really maybe have put down a third base a little bit earlier, or at least a baneling nest. But I get there, okay, they made some Zerglings, but just because they saw my Zerglings, which I had figured out during the game. So okay, my opponent's on their side of the map. I'm safe to make some drones. Except I got supply blocked because I'm bad. I'm super out of practice. Getting supply blocked on 36 now. It's the new getting supply blocked on 44. Get supply blocked on 44 a lot. It's one of the things I really need to work on in my early game, is to not be doing that, especially 36, 44, and I feel like I miss a 60 a lot too.
Evolution complete.
I'm also trying to work on positioning my third Overlord in a better spot. So in Zerg vs. Zerg, I'm pretty good about doing this to make sure I see all the attack paths that Zerglings can come down. But my other matchups, I'm good about sending my first two Overlords to good places, but I should really put my third Overlord in front of my base, and then my fourth Overlord in a spot that can check for drops in my main. So it's a thing I need to start getting into the habit of. Here I'm taking my third. It's pretty late. I have a lot of gas banked up there. I could maybe take some of the drones off of gas, or started a baneling nest or roach warren sooner. One of those things. So looking at this, I haven't seen Zerglings coming across the map to me, so I'm thinking, well, I'll make the baneling nest in case I missed that, but I'm going to start the roach warren in the thought that I will be able to have a big economy and just make roaches. Not worry about the Zerglings really at all anymore, except to reinforce. So I get some more gas, I thought to make roaches, to make a layer, to get +1 attack, which are all things you need if you're going to make roaches, because you need to get the layer to make roach speed, which is very important to have them move off of your creep. You want to make sure that they have speed so that you can chase down enemy units, and also to stay safe on your own side of the map, to be defensive if you need to. Gives them better retreat ability too, if you end up getting in a situation where it's bad. A little bit late on that evolution chamber. Really like to have it done when I'm starting my layer. I'm also not quite connecting the creep the right direction here to get over toward my third base. I'm connecting it down toward the fourth over there. Like as I look at my mini-map, I'm connecting some creep down this way. I'm not doing as good a job of making sure it goes out this direction to the right to make sure it really connects with my third base.
A new queen has emerged.
So I do have eyes on a potential fourth for my opponent, but not on some other potential fourth bases. I think I have to go here to clean the map. Like, so I have an okay idea here, but I don't have one here or here, which are all pretty reasonable bases for them to be taking. Let's see, refollow my camera. But I do have some overlords out spotting early for me. I'm missing a little bit of the upper right corner. They could maybe sneak something down this attack path and get me. Although hopefully my overlord this south of there would see that. I decided, okay, I'm going to get +1 attack, roach speed, and try to attack basically when those finish. I'll spend any extra gas I have to make Ravagers so that I can control how the fight gets positioned, since it doesn't appear that I'm under any threat of losing right now. Now, I do need to be careful that my opponent's not just making Mutalisks. I haven't gone back and checked if they have their gas on their third base yet, because if they have 6 gas, that's a very real possibility, so I should really be checking that right now. They're spreading creep pretty aggressively there. I go up here as if I go, wow, this is really far up here in the middle of the map for creep, so that does kind of imply they're going for a ground army, but that could be just Zerglings to go at the Mutalisks. Although they would probably be down here engaging me already if that was the case. So I get here, I'm like, okay, +1's about to finish. Take out these rocks so I have a better concave to fight in. I don't get all choked up in one spot. I make a few Zerglings to go around and aid my attack around from the backside. And I get up here, okay, great. What I do fail to do is I fail to click on one of their roaches and see what my opponent's upgrades are like. Because I know I have +1 attack, but I don't know what upgrades my opponent has in game. So, like, if I look at here, I can see that I'm up all these upgrades, but I don't actually have the information in game. And I really need to click on Roach to make sure. So I go back and make sure I'm hitting all my injects so I can keep reinforcing this army. I have to just look and say, well, I have so much of a more big force than my opponent does. I don't need to look at this fight anymore. Got to go back and make sure that if the game goes on longer, I'm prepared for the next step. So, okay, great. I took out the third hatchery. That should put me way ahead in production. So if I don't win right now, I need to just back up. I'm like, well, I'm very, very far ahead. So I put down a Hydralisk den here, thinking, okay, if I do end up needing to, I'll get them. My opponent says GG. They're dead. Because they only have, you know, these couple bases left. Their main that's mostly mined out, and their natural, it's got like half its resources left at it. But I still have my whole army to their basically nothing anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and try to play a live game with this one too, because that was kind of a short, quick game. Yeah, let's see. Oh, I guess I played a few games on the 25th, but before then I hadn't played since, yeah, almost a month basically. Let's see if we can't get a live one here too, see what's going on. So in Zerg versus Zerg, I'm just, okay, so I'm doing a standard Hatchcast pool no matter what opponent I get. But in Zerg versus Zerg, I then play Zergling Baneling until I can transition to Roaches. Against Terran, I try to go Hydra Baneling with armor upgrade, and against Protoss, I try to also go Hydra Baneling, but that one's with the attack upgrades. Alright, so Zerg versus Zerg again. Oh, this is a really, really small map, so I might actually have to go. I forgot this map was in the pool. I should ban this one.
We need more money.
I don't know what I have banned. I don't know how true that is. But yeah, this map is very small, so it might not actually be safe. I'm still going hatch first and just hoping that my opponent figures out, well, same thing. Which of these is your actual third on this map? I guess this one?
We require more overlords.
Alright, so plan here is 17 hatch, and then 18 pool, and then 18 gas, and then 18 pool. Let's grab about that many minerals, and then head down here. That's a pretty wide space, too. Well, it's not so much as wide as it's further away from the hatchery than I feel like is normal, but maybe I'm just mistaken.
Not enough minerals.
Maybe I'll switch that and go with the pool before I make the gas. That'll probably be safer. And start getting my Zerglings a little bit sooner.
We require more minerals.
Okay, then the gas. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a good way to block Zerglings from getting into your mineral line on this map either, because of how direct the ramp is to your base there. How very in line it is. Alright. Make sure I make Overlord here on 19 to not get supply blocked. How does this sync up for my queens? Pretty well, actually. Alright. So I want to make queen, queen, and some Zerglings. So what did my opponent do? Okay, my opponent is doing a very similar thing to me. So that's good to know. Okay, queen, queen, Zerglings. And then I want to go ahead and make Zergling speed as soon as I've got 100 gas. Take one of these guys back out. Make a couple drones, one of which I'm going to make into a baneling nest when it hatches. Am I going to have 50 gas by then with one out? I don't know. Oh, they've got a lot of Zerglings. Okay, we're backing up. No, that didn't quite sync up. But what I can do is make another queen here. Come on, baneling nest. Wedge my queen in there. Make some more of my own Zerglings. Okay, I've got my queen on hold position there, so she's not going to get completely surrounded by the Zerglings. Perfect. Make sure I make another Overlord. Alright, so my opponent is still sending more Zerglings across. And see, I'm even late on those Overlords again. Okay. Hold position there. You go over here and hold position there. Okay. Make a couple banelings here. Let's make just some more queens because they're good. Okay, I think that I have enough lings to not just be dead. I do see that my opponent has some banelings up here with the Zerglings. Okay.
Not enough Vespian gas. It's Vespian cases. A new queen has emerged.
Let's see if I can't get some of these Zerglings with my banelings. Great. Okay, I've got a bunch of queens. I need kind of another hatchery here. Okay, go ahead and take this hatchery.
Spawn more overlords.
How am I so not having overlords?
Your forces are under attack.
Okay. Gonna make a bunch more drones here.
We must spawn more
Gonna
overlords.
try to go. Okay, so my opponent's already got roaches. That's kind of bad. It's alright though.
Need more energy. We require more overlords.
Oh, there I'm hitting supply block on 60 again. Alright. Just want to keep an eye on my opponent moving out here. Okay, so my opponent's finally just now taking a third base. I badly need to get these roaches up.
Not enough energy. You're engaging the opponent. Whoa, you need more energy, little guy. Not enough Vespian gas. Price controlled. Only 5 gas per barrel.
Okay. Let's make sure we get this one too. Alright, they're on 0-0 with the roaches, so that's okay. Because we're also on 0-0 with our roaches. Make sure we target down the weak roaches with my guys if we can. Okay.
You require more Vespian gas. Pull my finger, Artosis.
Now,
Insufficient.
I want to
Vespian
get...
running out of minerals back home. A new queen.
Alright. That should be enough to defend the attack.
Need more
And
energy.
we want to get the layer here. And... okay.
Unacceptable command.
So I want to get +1 attack and roach speed.
Not enough energy.
Spawn more
And I want to also try to not die to getting nidus in my base, because I have definitely had that happen a couple times. Let's kill this overlord so my opponent doesn't have vision. That's probably a good starting point.
We must spawn more overlords.
Okay.
Our forces are under attack. Mineral field depleted. We require more overlords.
Let's see, we want to get the attack upgrade. Alright, cool, so my opponent can't come through that way.
Spawn
Dang
more
it.
overlords.
Okay, I have got more drones than work here. Perfect.
Whoa, we need more energy, little guy.
Okay, so we're gonna make a few more overlords and then some more
We must
roaches.
spawn more overlords.
Okay.
Insufficient Vespian gas. We require more overlords. We must spawn not enough energy.
Alright. So go ahead and make a hydralisk then if I need to follow this up.
Need more energy.
Don't have roach speed yet.
Whoa,
How are we doing on
need more
+1
energy,
attack?
little guy.
Kind of a long way out in the middle of the map for this.
We require more overlords.
Okay, so we're just gonna roach max here, I think. And then,
You're under attack. Siege
oh,
up.
where's that at? That's fine. Oh, that's actually really not fine.
Evolution.
Alright,
complete.
we're gonna catch these. We're gonna catch this guy.
Spawn more overlords.
Perfect. What's my opponent's upgrades like? Still 0-0. Is my one yet? Is my +1 done yet? No, but my speed is. Get the hydralisk. Move speed there. Need some more gas for
Not
this.
enough energy. Mutation complete.
Okay, so let's not get trapped like my opponent did though. So I'm gonna go over this way and just see if I can snipe this hatchery.
Taking damage. You require more Vespian gas.
See if I can't. Yeah, perfect. Okay, but I don't actually want to engage there. I actually want to kill their third base. Okay. So
Your
I
warriors
also want to
engage
make... Nope, I've got way too many minerals here, but that's okay. Just gonna go ahead and move up here now. You know what I don't have is detection. Which Which would be very bad if my opponent was going for lurkers. I don't think that's realistic right now, but...
Evolution complete.
Oh yeah, let's see if we can't. Looks like we just got this one. Those party noises are ridiculous. Oh, let's make sure to hit the injects. Look at how much. Thanks, opponent. Well, that's just someone to report, I guess, after it, but we can take a look at the game. Sure, opponent. Alright, so... ended up changing my mind and needing my pool a little bit sooner because this is a very small map. The walk time is basically nothing. It's like 15 seconds across the map instead of the 30 it is on most maps. Just gonna zap through the start of the game here. You know what? I'll probably actually just watch this on everyone cam. We saw it from my point of view already. Because I do want to get a fast expansion because you do need a second hatchery to make enough Zerglings in the early game. Oh yeah, see, my opponent even decides to use a gas before the pool, which I did the opposite because I was concerned about early cheese here a little bit. Can really zap through the start of this game because it's super Zerg versus Zerg. It's just how it basically always looks at the start of the game. Do a good job starting my speed at exactly 100 gas. I should have maybe waited until I had a little bit more gas to take that one off the extractor. Oh, I wonder if I ever put that one back on later. That's another reason I don't do that a lot of time, because then I forget to put it back on later. So... wow, that's annoying at fast speed. Okay, so I just send my Zerglings over here, figuring if I can put on some pressure, it gives me time to build defenses and drones. And if I incidentally win the game too, great. Which I don't. It's okay. It's just keeping my opponent busy on their side of the map. So I go, oh, there's still a lot of Zerglings, so I make a whole bunch in response here too. So I'm not going to just die if they come across the map, which they do. I made several extra queens. They're just a super good defensive unit, especially if we can keep them all together so they can't get surrounded by Zerglings. Get over here at some point and go, oh hey, my opponent has some roaches now. I need to start moving to that phase of the game. I don't really know how many workers they have. I think we're on similar numbers, but I haven't actually been able to see that. But based on what I'm seeing in their army, I think that we have similar numbers. I'm taking an expansion first. I see my opponent's a lot later on their expansion, so that's good for me. I do have pretty good eyes on where they can come to attack. They also keep just coming down the middle anyway. So I'm just ready for things. Opponent comes up here, they detonate a whole bunch of banelings on the Zerglings. They're getting useless anyway, now we all have roaches. Do a little bit of target firing here to try to get individual roaches at a time so that I keep having more and more overwhelming numbers. At this point, I am pretty sure that I am far ahead. So, what I've done a lot of times in the past here is just walked across the map and like, oh, I'm ahead, I'll just win now. But that's actually not the right plan. The right plan is to make even more of a big army to be even further ahead, then go walk across the map to your opponent, especially if you're waiting for key upgrades to be done, like, I don't have roach speed yet, and I don't have +1 attack. But since I'm pretty sure I'm way far ahead, my best plan here is to just make sure I'm not dying to something like, say, a Nidus Worm in my base, which I've definitely done a few times. So I shoot this Overlord, because that's one of the things that can cause that. I put down some more creep over here so I will be able to see better what's at the edges of my base. And then I do start walking across the map, but then I wait a moment over here when I realize, hang on, I don't have roach speed, I don't have +1 yet, I don't actually want to engage. Can make some Ravagers, spend all the extra gas that I was having. And then yeah, like I said, I get out here and I go, well, this is not actually what I want to do with an attack. Gonna back up. And then I see my opponent moving into the middle of the map thanks to my overlords. And I go, oh hey, there's actually a chance to catch them because I can get this army come from behind them, plus my reinforcements come from over here, and I'll get their army sandwiched. And I did actually click on the roach to see what their upgrade was. It was 0-0. I go, okay, great. So I've won this engagement. I don't actually need to do anything else right now. I can try to get damage done, but I want to make sure to not throw away my army the way my opponent just threw away their army. Get up here. I do a little bit of a bad job of it because of how the units path here, because I'm less familiar with this map than I should be. Well, I haven't played a ton of games on it. But eventually I go, okay, well, they seem like they're going to be at their natural. I'll go down here and get the third base, which is actually always my goal. So I do. I take out the third base. So now I'm up in how many units I can produce. And I walk over here to get the rest of their stuff too. I'm transitioning to add Hydralisk to this. I'm adding more Zerglings with my extra minerals. I should really maybe have a macro hatch even at this point, or a fourth base or something. And my opponent leaves. Kind of is rude, but that's alright.